What's going on, guys? Great Freak here, and in this video we're going to be talking about what could be easily the race between the Rookie of the Year, which is Luka Doncic. Now, obviously, as we all know, he just scored his career high 32 points in a game against the Los Angeles Clippers. And not only that, we've been obviously noticing the fact that he's now having a signature step back with the ability to make game winners. As we very much knew, he was to be projected the #1 point guard coming out of this draft class, at least as far as currently projected. Obviously, we knew Trae Young was going to take time to develop and everything else, so we cannot really make a full judgment there, as Luka Doncic being an MVP of the EuroLeague, winning the championship in his final game as a EuroLeague player. We obviously knew the fact that he had high-end potential for this league. Now, as far as how we see a Luka Doncic, obviously he's been having a great year so far. So far, only playing 29 games, but at his points per game, averaging almost 19 points per game, about 6.5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. Now, I don't have his turnovers on here, but he does average 3.5 turnovers per game, and his steals are 1.2 steals per game, with a 0.3 blocks per game. Now, obviously these are very great stats, and really, like I've mentioned before, I thought the fact that the Rookie of the Year was going to be a DeAndre Ayton. Now, DeAndre Ayton, I still have as the Rookie of the Year as it currently stands, just due to the efficiency percentages between the two. But when we really do look at the numbers, obviously Luka Doncic is very much getting closer than what I would have imagined. I was not expecting him to come out this NBA ready now, as far as what we can see here. Now, if we look at a DeAndre Ayton's stat line, we're obviously looking at a different standard here. Now, he's played slightly more games, but of course, in the NBA, the rounding of percentages, it's not so little games that it doesn't make a big deal. So, right here, we're in a situation where he's averaging around 16 points per game, 10.4 rebounds per game, and about 2.5 assists per game at the center position, which is very good. Now, as much as you can see here, obviously, from a pure number standpoint, I would go with Luka Doncic if it was not for some other situations. Now, obviously, Luka Doncic is averaging more points, and even though he is averaging less rebounds, as a point guard averaging almost 7 rebounds is pretty big, and with a center only averaging 10 is not as big of a deal. It's pretty much more or less expected. Now, of course, a rookie year, very good. As many people may not know, Luka, from this comparison, this is the major thing. Now, here is the main reason why, as you can see here, I have a difference here. Now, of course, we have the comparison here that you can see the field goal percentage and 3-point percentage, free throws, and minutes per game. Now, Luka Doncic plays slightly more minutes per game. Obviously, that's nothing to ever be concerned about if it's only 2 minutes at most, and actually it's less. But as you can see, the field goal percentage is the major difference maker here for me. Now, if you can really see that, obviously DeAndre Ayton shooting almost 59% from the field is a huge standard by any player, especially a rookie coming into this league. That's very impressive in and out of itself. Now, obviously, he has only shot 1 3-pointer, so that's not really enough to really grab consistent data as far as how his 3-point shooting is. But obviously, he avoids shooting 3-pointers at this great moment in his career. And with Luka Doncic, that's basically one of his strong suits right now. Shooting 36% with the high volume amounts that he does shoot obviously shows the fact that he is capable of shooting 3-pointers at a very good percentage, as he currently does. Now, of course, 43% from the field is not terrible as an NBA point guard rookie. So we have to really look and see about this. Now, this is the major reason why I just cannot give Luka Doncic to this situation yet. Now, if his numbers do improve as the year moves on, or maybe as his per game numbers move up, that will maybe change my mind as far as this. But right now, currently, it's DeAndre Ayton. But as we can see also, DeAndre Ayton shoots a slightly better percentage from the free throw line, which shows very much, I have to say, is a very good sign for a free throw shooting for a big man. And of course the free throw shooting for Luka Doncic, not bad. Like I said, they're not bad percentages, but it's very impressive for a center player that we usually don't see shooting free throws very well. And like I mentioned, the minutes per game are very similar. So as far as this, I think the fact that it's a very great sign for these two teams as far as the rookies that they're going with. Now, of course, I left out PER and win shares because I just don't see them as a big deal. But if you do want to know about them, obviously, DeAndre Ayton has a 3 points higher PER with 20, and Luka Doncic has 17. And win shares were very similar. I believe the fact that actually DeAndre Ayton had a higher winning share percentage because, and it was only by 0.1, so nothing major there. Like I mentioned, I don't think the fact that those are major stats that you need to worry about for rookies at all, or really need to use them in context too much for anything. I believe you got to look at the situation that these players are in, which, like I mentioned before the season started, I thought Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks were going to be a playoff contending team. I did not believe the same for the Phoenix Suns, and right now they're obviously showing that they're one of the worst teams in the league. Now, this is obviously due to what I had mentioned before with the Phoenix Suns, which is the bad drafting and collection of talent that they've been doing there in Phoenix, where I actually do very much like where the Dallas Mavericks are moving with their pieces. As I mentioned before, it seemed like they were really trying to go out there, compete and contend out for these different things, while the Phoenix Suns are obviously having problems going out there trying to win games. Obviously, I feel like lots of people do like Devin Booker, and of course DeAndre Ayton is obviously a good piece. Now, one thing I'm going to have to mention that I really don't like from DeAndre Ayton, where he could improve, would have to be the defensive end of the basketball. Now, he does not even average a block per game. He averages, I believe, 0.7 blocks per game and only about 0.6 steals per game, which obviously I don't expect too many steals from centers, but obviously I do expect shot blocking at the rim, contesting shots. His rebounding numbers are fine for right now. I do see situations where I don't see him competing directly for the rebounds as much as what I would like to see. And for someone like Luka Doncic, obviously, like I mentioned, his shooting and can get a little bit better, but as far as 3-point percentage, is looking pretty good for a rookie, and maybe better free throw shooting for a point guard. But his rebounding numbers are very nice, very great actually. Probably one of the best rebounding point guards in the league at this moment even. So if we look at that, I think the fact that that's pretty good. His defense as far as steals, obviously I said he averaged 1.2 steals per game, are pretty good. And I think the fact that that's a great sign for this Dallas Mavericks team. Now, like I mentioned, guys, tell me what your guys' thoughts are. Who do you think is going to win Rookie of the Year? Right now, I'm going to have to still lean with DeAndre Ayton, my original pick, just due to the efficiency difference between the two, but I do have to like Luka Doncic's numbers, and if they can improve just a little bit more than what they are, I can definitely see myself siding with that. It's just that 59% from the field is very tough for me to really go away from. But tell me what your guys' thoughts are on this. Who do you think is going to be it? Leave it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you leave a like and subscribe to the Freak Army today. And as always, this is Sparta. Thank you.